Derry, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. It's really great to have you on. We've been trying to get this together for a long time, haven't we? Finally chatting. How's it all going with you? And again, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, we've already we've probably done about half an hour on putting the world to rights, but yeah, things are good. Things are really busy. You know, I'm just trying to sort of it's I mean, the thing is, you think that you're going to get this, things are busy, and you think you're going to get this space that's going to suddenly appear out of nowhere. You know, oh, things are busy, and then everything will calm down, but nothing calms down. The older you get, nothing calms down. You know what I mean?
Life's a
Not,
busy thing.
yeah, not necessarily with music. I mean, I haven't had much time to do music. Obviously, I really enjoy being in EMF at the moment, and the vibe we've got in the band is very positive, and I leave a lot of stuff to Ian and James to, you know, I'm not a hired hand. I have to be there. James and Ian have made that completely clear to me that, you know, I have to be there, almost like we can't. No, we can't do it without you, but it's not the same. But yeah, it's really, really, really enjoyable. Obviously, there are certain things that I would like to be a bit different, not much, but you know, yeah, it's it's interesting again to be in a band, and I think a lot of that is down to James and Ian and being motivated to make new music, which I'm not that not I'm not that not interested, but I can be really lazy and really just non. I'm always, every day I try and do this thing like with a mantra where I try and learn something new about music. And a lot of that stems from listening to music. I mean, all I listen to really is jazz. And I'm
Is that
not
your
talking
favorite? Is that
about,
your favorite music?
well, it's not my favorite music. It's just, I got into it when I was in France. I mean, I'm a massive like Chet Baker fan because the thing about Chet Baker is I love the sound of the trumpet. I always wish I'd taken up the trumpet from when I was like 15, and from Miles Davis, and just, you know, I'm not that hip cat, you know, jazz. But what I love about Miles Davis is when he sings, he's got this, and that whole the look. You know, he went to prison. I love a bad boy. Everybody loves a bad boy, you know. But he was, you know, he always had amazing looking women around him, and but the main thing is he always had amazing dogs, you know, like
Yeah.
huskies, you know, and he always looked cool. I know, you know, I know he was a bit of a, you know, whatever, you know, but that goes hand in hand with jazz, and I've been doing a lot of work on my own, and doing a lot of reading at the apartment I've been renovating for my father. So yeah, yeah. I mean, I can sit there. I mean, a lot of people can't listen to Miles Davis for 5 hours, which is ridiculous, you know. But the thing is, what I like about Chet Baker is that he sings, and I've been getting into like Karen Dalton a lot, who's a um, she was kind of around at the same time as sort of Dylan in the early coffee shops in the East Village and da 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 da, and just things that really pop up on, dare I say it, the S word, Spotify, which I have there's no way I will ever pay a subscription to those people because they pay musicians nothing, nothing. But sometimes I like to think that I've got more out of them, which is probably not right actually, than they've got out of me. As in, people play unbelievable. They you know, you'll download a Yellow Pages from Spotify, which I haven't done, but I've heard about it, for your royalties, and it's like 73p, where those guys in those download streaming services, they're just paying the big three or the big four like $2 million a day. Don't worry, you know what I mean? But here's $2 million a day for all of you, like, to basically just you know, zip it, so they don't audit them or anything. You know, I mean, those streaming. I mean, how many people have you got? Spotify? Do you pay for it?
I have got a Spotify account, but I can understand from a musician's perspective how it might kind of feel with the way
I
they
mean,
treat artists.
now, now, I mean, this is why you look at a festival now, especially in places like, say, Denmark. Um, just nothing against Denmark, where you look at the lineup for the festival and you're like, that is a really weird lineup. Glastonbury this year is, without exception to everybody, it's the worst lineup.
I
The people
think,
that go
yeah,
to Glastonbury don't care. They're at Glastonbury. It's not the festival I went to when I was like, first time I went to Glastonbury to see New Order, I was 16, and I saw New Order with one of the greatest performances. I saw Julian Cope. I saw everybody, the Wooden Tops, Petrol Emotion, all these great bands. But New Order were like, wow. And they just put the festival together because they'll look at the Spotify playlist for that area or that country and go, wow, we need Dua Lipa. We're never going to get Ed Sheeran because he can play to 700,000 people over 3 nights anyway. We'll never get Adele, so, or Beyonce. So we'll just get that, that, and that. And that's why it you know, and then people go, oh, that's really eclectic. No, they're just lazy, like most people that work in the music industry, not all, but they'll just go, well, you know, they're not, when they can shoot fish in a barrel, they're not going to go out on a limb. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to suddenly chuck Guns and Roses in, because a lot of those things that they have done that way, like put, say, Guns and Roses at Glastonbury, it hasn't worked. Like U2 didn't work for some reason at Glastonbury,
I
you know.
think they go off what's popular now, which unfortunately isn't the best stuff.
And it's really funny because a friend of mine and a friend of Joe's, my partner, he like a fire service guy that basically now he's retired. He does crowd control at massive festivals, and it was a real eye opener for him to go, basically in a nutshell. Okay, so you've got 100, because Glastonbury, they say there's 150,000 there. There ain't 150,000 there. There's like 350,000
Yeah.
there. Bullshit. I played to like 80,000, and it, you know, that is. But the Rolling Stones, and they say, okay, with the Rolling Stones set, you're going to have all the people that are just interested in the Rolling Stones being there. And then when they do their encore, they then they basically liaise with the production manager and say, you know, your first encore would be better if you did like an acoustic song, then brought on a special guest. So all of the hardcore the people that just want to watch Rolling Stones think, do you know what? We're going to beat the rush to get back to our tent or get back to the bar. And they look at it with hot spots. This is what Neil was saying to me, where they go, you're going to take out like 15% of that because it's all about crowd control. So we'll take out 15% there. What? They're not going to bother watching the encores. They want to get back to their tent and do whatever. But the hardcore Rolling Stone fans are going to start. So they liaise with the production manager and say, well, then can you do like the second song? Can you do like a special guest on? Of course, if it's Sam Springer or whatever his name is, you know, another part of the audience is going to then say, do you know what, I've seen enough, I'm going back. So it was, all about this kind of like control over it. But it's the same thing as putting together a festival like Dua Lipa, Coldplay, and Shania Twain, is it? At
I think
Glastonbury?
I think she might be on.
Yeah, because she's just done a duet with Harry Styles, which is great. I love Harry Styles. And, is Harry Styles going to turn up? Which he probably will and do, that ain't
Because it's
too.
Glastonbury.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But do you know what I mean? So they know they can pop that in and, oh, are you going to get Harry? Oh,
Then
we'll
you'll
get
get all of Harry's fans.
exactly. So she can do that because Harry will probably turn up, or it'll be on a video screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That don't impress me much, or whatever, and so it's not like when you look at festivals, like when we did Reading, I think you had Nirvana, Pearl Jam. I mean, you look.
Now isn't that an incredible lineup to start with there?
Well, we were like blah 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 blah, Manic Street Preachers, EMF, Ride, who I've got into, and then Public Enemy. It was like bang,
Yeah.
bang. And then the next night was da 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 da. I can't remember who headline, like Faith No More. And then the next night was Nirvana, with
Yeah.
Mud Honey and like, so it was like it wasn't about uh, what was selling. It was about who can we get, you know. And I did festivals with like watching Pearl Jam, watching Faith No More in a Swedish festival at like 4 o'clock in the morning. We were all just like, wow, I mean, it. You look at some of those old festivals from 90 to 94 when we were most active, and it's like, oh my God, you could not put an equivalent of that. Not even one of the days could you put over 3 days now because of the the quality and the
Yeah.
even on the back stages, you're looking, the second stages and stuff like that. You're like, because we shut our pants when we played Reading. We played Reading once. We weren't even on a lot of the posters. That sort of came to fruition. We were almost, I think, plugged in and we were really like, we were we were, because you're looking on the other stage, it's Nirvana and
Yeah.
Public Enemy, and you're like, these are like proper, um, bands and lineups, and I when I see these things come up now, and people say, um, you'd never get a lineup like that now. No way would a lineup like that be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No chance. So to have, but I think Glastonbury anyway is, it's just Glastonbury. I mean, when I first went to Glastonbury, I remember we went down. I think I first went in '85. I was 14 or '86, maybe. I definitely went '87 because I saw the order. And you had you'd walk around these cornfields out the back, and you'd get to this fence, and there'd be like these scousers covered from head to toe in mud, going, yeah, right. Dug this tunnel, but it's like £5 to go through the tunnel. Or chuck your bags over the top, And they were like the Great Escape. They were like head to toe in mud, where they'd been digging this tunnel, and they'd lined it with like dustbin liners, and you just go underneath the tunnel. They go, there's a fire the other side, so just when you get up, just sit by the fire like you know them. It's all our mates, and we'll chuck your bag over because the security were patrolling. And then afterwards, after that, it got a little bit tighter. But it was like it was anarchy. Walking around Glastonbury in those days. James was there. Me and James went. Zach went. We all went. We all met up there. We all had our gang there. Blah, blah, blah. And it was like something like Apocalypse Now. You know what I mean? Where they go to the bridge. It was just anything goes. It was great, you know. And I think it's good now because a lot of younger people feel safe to go to a festival,
Yeah,
and
which is a bonus.
absolutely, they're exposed to like great bands, like bands that can play, as you know. You know, when you see a band that is, you know, that very rarely do you see a band, even like I guess your Coldplay's not. Hey, they've done their chops. They're not my cup of tea. I think they've done some great
Not
records.
mine either.
I saw you two on the Joshua Tree tour at Wembley Stadium in '87, the same year I went to Glastonbury and saw New Order. And I'm
Big
like,
year then.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, I saw loads of bands that year, you know. And, you know, you two were just, you know, they were everything. Because in those days, you two weren't, they didn't, you didn't see them on TV. You didn't see them very rarely doing interviews unless it was the Tube, which was Paula Yates, who was married to Bob Geldof, who Bob Geldof was friends with you too. So we go, hey, go on there, Bono, you know, and it, you know, doing it. But it was, it wasn't like the internet where everything was instant, you know, which I think the internet has got total massive pluses to it for young people. Because now, when I talk to my nephews and my nieces and everything, and some of the music, they're turning me onto music, you know, and I'm pretty on it with stuff. But they're like, oh, you know, or they like the same music that I like, or they like EMF. You know, my nephews, my nieces all come and watch EMF, and they're like, to them, it's just another band. The fact that their uncle is in it and they're, you know, proud of that. But if they didn't like it, they wouldn't come and see us, even if they're VIP'd up. Like Oliver,
Right.
they, you know, if they didn't like it, Oliver's a massive. William, my nephew's an amazing musician. Oliver's a great musician. Jesse has got a degree in music technology and is a great musician. You know, my all my a lot of my nephews are very artistic and William and Oliver and Jesse, they're amazing musicians. Amazing. You know, they just play. They just play. It's just in them, you know, and they're good with their technology as well. Jesse and William more so than, well, I don't know, but Oliver's just into, you know, drove up to Manchester on his own to see the Chili Peppers, you know, and is, you know, just they'll just pick up a guitar and just play, you know, because my uncles Keith and Phil were big musicians. So, and my brother's an amazing musician. So, just like, you know, it's just simple to us to enjoy music and to and it's great when I see my nephews and my nieces and they're just like, what have you been up to then? Oh, I went to see, you know, Harry Styles, you know, and I think that because Harry Styles is on his own, man. You know, he's on his own. He's running these like Ed Sheeran. You know, I don't dislike their music. I like Harry Styles' stuff because I know people that work with him. But that doesn't mean anything unless you like their stuff. But you've got to realize that his own being, like with all the people he employs, they've got mortgages, they've got families, and that's one person. EMF back in the day, I knew James from when we were kids. I knew Zach from when we were 2 weeks old. I was in an incubator and Zach was next to me in the hospital, you know, from when we were little black and blue babies. Obviously I didn't meet him till we were about 8. But we were all, you know, we were our gang, so we always had someone to, you know, you just didn't. You always had someone to be with. So when you see people like Harry Styles and Ed Sheeran and Adele or Deli as I call her, you got, you know, those people are they're employing a lot of people. They're paying a
Yeah.
lot of people's mortgages and so Oh, what's this guy on about? I've told him I'm doing a podcast. Nope. So yeah, you've got to take your hat off to them because they're doing something different. When I saw U2, it was like, oh my god, U2 are like, you know, that's a four-piece band. You know, they've never, unlike the Rolling Stones at Glastonbury. You know, it's you got you just you you develop. I don't know. You probably feel the same, but you develop a respect for those people that are
Yeah.
that you know they're doing it and they've been doing it for 30 years and I go, oh yeah, and my dad goes, you've been doing it for 30 years. I'm like, yeah, but not like that. It's like, yeah, but you know, I meet people that back in the day that were like oh, like even with EMF, the footnote that we are, and they go, oh my god, you guys were like everywhere. You couldn't own the paper. You guys were everywhere. Just you were everything and everywhere, and it was like,
All you need to do is play Unbelievable and people believe.
yeah, yeah. Well, like you'll be in a cab or somewhere on a train, and they say, "Oh, what you do?" And you say, "Oh, musician." You probably don't know the band, but you know the song, and you go, "You're unbelievable." And then probably about 50-50, maybe a little bit more. They go EMF, and then 1 out of 10 they'll go, "You're Derry from EMF." You know, which cab driver.
I bet that feels good.
It is what it is, isn't it? You know what I mean? I mean, the cab driver that did that was on, I think, Vernon Kay the other day and was like, oh, yeah, I had that Derry from EMF in the back of my cab.
A little
Yeah,
little feature on Radio 2.
yeah, I think it was. I think, yeah, but it doesn't. You know, we made our mark back in the day, and you know, it's enjoyable now, and that's the main thing, really. You know, so it is what it is, as we say. You know, it sometimes it you know back in the day it can be a pain in the ass, but now it's just like it. Like I said, it is what it is. That's why I like being in France. That's why I like being because it's such a culture shock that they don't really know what is. You know, Stefan in the bar around the corner from my apartment, from our apartment, he knows because he's, and you find a lot of them are real Anglophiles. Like, who doesn't like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin? That's like, you know, because you can go, oh yeah, French, we have Johnny Halliday, you know, we have Charles Aznavour, you know, and they have their Les Niggerverts and blah, blah. And you go, yeah, but we got the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Led Zepp.
We've got the best bands without a doubt.
Exactly. You know, I mean, I love a lot of American stuff, obviously, but you ain't gonna beat Zepp, Beatles. I mean, the Beatles were never my records. Led Zepp were always my sister's records, not my mum's. My mum was more Neil Young and Dylan, you know, than yeah. My mum was more Neil Young, Dylan, and Stereophonics. She loved the Stereophonics.
I do like the phonics.
Yep, yep, and loved obviously EMF and loved Manic Street Preachers, certain songs. So, but you know, if we're top trumping it, there's Zepp or the Beatles, and the Beatles weren't my, you know, my uncles. They loved everything. They're more Stones, you know, but obviously the White Album and Abbey Road, and, you know, Let It Be. That was the first, you know, because my uncles were, my brother's a musician. So my uncles were always, oh, yeah, you need a guitar. Oh, yeah, what do you want? Oh, we want a 12 string, my brother. Oh, well, Spider's got a guitar. Oh, I'll give him a shout next week, you know, and then Worm has got like a bass. Do you need a bass? Worm's got, you know, it was all like that, all their mates, you know.
Worm's got a bass.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It was like, and then they oh yeah, we'll give him 40 quid, but you give him like £2 a week for the next like 20 weeks or whatever it was. So it was like, my uncles, they used to have a jam night on a Monday, and there'd be like 12 of them, the Monday night boys, and they'd all be there with their guitars and everything. So there was always guitars lying around that were for sale, or they'd say, oh, you can borrow that because he's going to prison for a year and stuff like that. So there was always, music around, you know what I mean? My mum and that was always, my mum is the only person that I said, turn your music down. What?
Really?
Oh, yeah. My mum on a Sundays were always roast dinners. My mum, whoever was there, excuse me, if I had a girlfriend um, or there were, Zach was coming round, or my other mates were coming round. My mum would be like, I am making a dinner for like 20 people here. I'm like, oh, mum, just put a bit extra in. I like, and then there'd be music blaring, usually like Neil Young live. She loved Neil Young, and then there'd be like Dylan at the Budokan, or Stereophonics. She loved the Stereophonics. So yeah, that always reminds me of like. But then she'd listen to like uh, Tammy Wynette. Like my dad listens to a lot of very traditional Irish music. Not so much protest Irish music, but very much uh, we Davy Arthur and the Furies, the Furies, or other stuff. Brendan Behan or whatever, poetry readings and stuff like that, Irish, the night was there dark, and and all like this. But you know, or very much blues like Big Bill Broomsey and Muddy Waters and Leadbelly and real. My dad is like into like real roots, like he's not really into it, but when he gets some whiskey down there and he's sat there writing his books or doing whatever he does, there's a lot of. I grew up on a lot of traditional Irish music, the Killarney band play, traditional Irish songs. You know what I mean? You always had that. So yeah, and it's beautiful. He's just got the best of the Pogues as well.
Best
So
of the Pogs.
yeah, well, he's like Shane McGowan, Shane McGowan, Shane McGowan, and you know, no no problem. But I'm like, Dad, have you not heard like Waltzing Matilda and stuff like that? And he probably has, but I'm like, they are, and that's all you hear down in there is the best of the Pogues, which is fantastic. But like proper Irish music he listens to, and he's got it on vinyl, like the heavy duty vinyl as well, a lot of it, and gave away a lot of his amazing blues collection. He gave away amazing uh, posters when he worked for the Rank organization of like the Small Faces, or the Beatles, Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick and Titch, or
My
whatever.
nana likes them.
Yeah, Gene Pitney. Gene Pitney is my godfather. My middle name's Gene. I've got a picture. Where is it? You know who Gene Pitney is? Do you know who Gene Pitney
Of
is?
course, yeah. Something's gotten hold of my heart.
Got it. Yeah, you got it. Well, there's my dad and Gene Pitney there.
He's actually your godfather then.
Yeah, there he is there. That's with my dad.
That's crazy. I remember the song he did with Mark Armand as well. They
Something
remade it, didn't
got
they?
yeah, well, that
Yeah.
was his 24 Hours from Tulsa. But my middle name is Gene. So, uh, I mean, I think Dad asked him and he agreed, but he was on tour, so that's my claim to fame anyway. That he was, but that's a picture of Dad. I got a picture of Gene holding me, and Dad said, "You just shit yourself then. You just peed or something." And Gene was like, "So yeah, it's,
Oh, that's a great story. In terms of all of this music we're speaking about, who's the best band you've ever seen, Derry?
I mean, U2 were up there as a band, as a four-piece, and because it was on the Joshua Tree tour, and I was so
Incredible album.
well, yeah, and they
Yeah.
started obviously with "Where the Streets Have No Name." You're at
Oh,
Wembley,
it's
you're at
amazing.
Wembley Stadium, and I always say to people, the Edge, when he was playing his guitar, he looked at everyone in the front row. He made eye contact with everyone when he was doing it. You know, as a band. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen U2, but
I
mean,
want to.
they are incredible.
My dad's seen them on the Pop Mart tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I mean, I'm not being big-headed, but I saw them on the Joshua Tree tour. First night at Wembley Stadium, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
And Spirit of Destiny are a big favorite band of mine. We're on the support as well. New Order, Glastonbury '87 was hard to beat, but I really think U2 probably just
win it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Jane's Addiction, I saw the Birmingham, and I'm like, this band are from outer space. They was just so powerful in a different way. U2 had space, but they were just for four people in Wembley Stadium, just absolutely incredible. They filled the space. They filled the space with space, if that makes sense. They filled it with this, obviously, they do With or Without You. I mean, they started with Where the Streets Have No Name. I mean, everybody just went absolutely barmy. Do you know what I mean? They knew what was coming. And then, they did they had just so many great songs. And there's four of them up there. And Bono doesn't. I think he played a bit of guitar. He did, but they're just a solid band. They're just a great band. And to translate that kind of sort of punk rock, and then make an album. I mean, I know what was the album? The Unforgettable Fire. You had War, which was quite still punk. But don't forget, they were doing like arenas on War tour. Then they started, they worked bloody hard, but yeah, I think the best band I've ever seen has got to be U2.
Going for U2.
At that time, '87, unbeatable. How can you beat a band like that with the music they had? They're playing Wembley Stadium 2 nights sold out. So,
that must have been incredibly special.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Of course, your own band, EMF. Let's talk a little bit about some of the best moments with them. So I know that you've got plenty of stories, Derry, from over the years of things that have happened on the road with EMF. Can you tell us some of the best ones?
In what respect do you want best stories? I mean, there's so many. A lot of it is in the book. A lot of it is unprintable. It's not unprintable. Best stories getting to number one. I was talking to my dad about it today. I think we were in Toronto, and the management came in after the gig, and we knew something was happening because it was a bit like, there was a few people around us at the time sort of, zipped. But, when you come off stage, especially in those days, it was like you were buzzed, and And I remember the party we had. I remember going outside the venue when we were number one in America. We were number one in America for only a week, but you still got there, you know, and
Yeah, massive achievement,
massive achievement.
especially
All
in
that
America.
getting phone calls from in those days pre emails, pre we had a management phone that we could all use to call our families and everything, but that phone was just ringing off the, you know, oh, who they want to talk to? I'll talk to Zach, I'll talk to Derry, I'll talk to Linda. Oh, Linda, you know, congratulations, you know, and it was also a big achievement for EMI, who were, because when we went over, me, Zach, and Mark, James and Ian were finishing the album in the UK in London, and they flew me, Zach, and Mark out to New York first, where we were wined and dined by the record company. They not long lost the Chili Peppers from EMI, and so they were desperate to get their teeth into a band, and they really, really, really wanted us. You know, they knew the way things work. America's a completely different way in those days than it works now. If you've got a single in America, say, and it's, oh, it's number 76, everything in the UK back in the day was top of the pops.
Yeah,
So everything was geared towards the top 10 or the top 20 or the top 40. So they're like, oh, your song is like number 76. And we're just like, ah, yeah, whatever.
because of how things were in the UK.
Absolutely, yeah. So when it started to move and the record company, but basically going back to that, I'm getting off the track there. We went and met and were wined and dined by the New York company. Of course, in those days we weren't like, oh yeah, get me 10 hookers and a pile of cocaine and loads of uppers and downers. We were like, we just want to go to a Chinese and have milkshakes. We were we were like that. So we spent a lot of time with the American record company EMI in New York and really liked them. You know, they were a small company and they really wanted it, but they had to be really careful because it was me, Zach, and Mark. You know, they sort of didn't really know what, you know. Obviously, we were in the band and we were integral to the band, but I don't think they did make us out. I think what happened was we connected with them because, no disrespect to James and Ian, because they were working their asses off to finish the album and get it moving. But I think we just met them on a really friendly basis, you know, in New York. But they were under the impression that us three would then go to LA, flown to LA to meet Capitol in LA, you know, the Capitol building, all the
Oh
record.
yeah.
And we would be taken down Rodeo Drive and taken on the Sunset and, you know, whatever. And it was good, but the thing is, they put us up in the Roosevelt Hotel, which is the old Oscars hotel opposite Grauman's Chinese Theatre. And I got into the room and I called Zach and Mark within about 10 minutes. And Mark goes, I fucking don't like it here. And Zach, I'm like, let's go and see Zach. Went to Zach, and Zach's like, I don't like it here. Of course, it's supposedly one of the most haunted, like
Really?
Marilyn Monroe haunts it. We just didn't like it because but they thought, oh yeah, you know, they're edgy English, you know, they're right on like opposite Grauman's theater with the Hollywood stars. We hated it, hated the hotel. Just I went there about 2 years later with a Happy Mondays. That's another story.
That
And
must have been. You've got to tell me this one afterwards.
well,
Happy
so
Mondays.
they were like, oh my God, oh my God. The first thing we did is put them in a hotel they hate. So they put us in the Bellage then. David Bowie was staying there. So we went to the Bellage and we went up on the roof and in the jacuzzi, and Cyndi Lauper came along and invited us to this party. She said, but I'm having this like party, and we're like, yeah, we'll come to a party. She's like, but you guys have got to wear like women's clothes. And we're like, yeah, we'll wear women's. So it was a kind of, anyway, we were like, well, where are we going to get any women's clothes? She's like, we'll take care. They just wanted the Sarah's like dressing basically. So we stay at the Bellage, but all of the EMI company in New York obviously thought they're going to go to LA, they're going to be blown away by LA. LA, I can smell LA now. It, it didn't do that much. I remember going back on the plane with, and the record company in LA had given us these like pills, which we weren't into those type of things, but we're like, it's a long flight. I used to do that flight like weekly to San
Which
Francisco.
was going to be tired.
So they gave us these pills, and we all took these pills, and we were all whacked. But when we got back to London, Ian and James were like, "What did you think?" And we were like, "Do you know what? I much prefer New York. We just preferred the kind of the hustle, It was, I don't know why, because they all obviously thought as soon as they go to LA, they're going to be LA, you know. And Ian was like, because Ian was like our kind of like, we were very diplomatic, but if Ian had something he wanted to push, and he would advise us, because we knew shit, really, we knew shit. We just been on a jolly to New York.
Yeah,
Never even been out of the country and flown like business class to New York and business class to LA, wined and dine Rodeo Drive. And Ian was like, well, what do you think? And we are like, James? And he's like, well, James was always, you knew he was always going to go New York. Even though later on he was like, oh, I wish we'd gone LA. But no, we went to New York. We went with a small company, and they worked it, and they got it to #1. So it was like, yeah, it was an amazing. But it did alienate us when we needed because that's the way America works. It did alienate us the way that Americans work. Everybody you meet on the way up, you meet on the way down, and usually the ones on the way down, unless you're very lucky, they'll kick you further down.
I
Not that they did.
think it was successful, anyways.
Yeah, it was. It would have been successful, whatever. But I mean, I don't regret being with the New York people, because they were a smaller company, EMI, but then they got swallowed up by Capitol in LA because of the way the music industry was changing. So whatever. We stuck to our guns. But the thing is, there was a rivalry between us and Jesus Jones, who were then on SBK Capitol.
We'll have to come on to this later on.
Well, there was no rivalry whatsoever between us personally with Jesus Jones, but it's just politics. What did we know? Everything to us was something that we had never experienced before or had any knowledge of. So you just do what you think is right at the time. But when we did get back to London and we did talk to Ian and James, they said, well, what did you think? I said, well, the milkshakes in New York were better than the milkshakes in LA. So,
that was the deciding factor.
Well, it was just, what were the people like? Oh, the people were really nice, but I just prefer the people in New York. I think Ian is more New York than LA, and James was definitely more in his mind. New York, LA was great. LA was great, but LA, if you've ever been there, New York at that time was more. It had a bit more chutzpah. It was, it was fucking New York. It was like we had people like John Kerr taking us out for dinner, showing us the real New York, just like, and we thought we were kind of like B-boys. So it made sense. And I think Ian maybe in retrospect, we should have bought big houses in the Hollywood Hills and done whatever. Big houses for $300,000, which we could have bought like that. And now, but LA is a lot better now with Echo Park and Silver Lake and all the areas. It's got it's got a vibe. But then, yeah, it was what we looked at the time, and I think our management at the time as well were more in New York because it was an easier flight. I ended up flying a lot to San Francisco later on, right, and you know, New York just had a more of a connection to New York. I think just it's a little bit more down home. Nothing against LA, I love LA, but yeah.
What about if I ask what's the naughtiest EMF story?
Ah, from whose perspective?
Just if there's a story which you probably say is the most naughty in any perspective, um, I think give us that one.
Um, the most naughty.
No barriers here as well. You can say anything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll have to really. Oh dear, there's been quite a few to be honest with you. Um,
You can give us a couple if you're stuck.
I'm not stuck. It's just trying to put one
I mean,
together.
if you're stuck for the best one, you can give
Zach
us.
got in trouble once in Germany and ended up on a train track, and we had to get the police to go and find him and whoever he was with. But before it all kind of came to fruition, I'm not chucking Zach, who's dead, under the bus, but he turned up covered in scratches and blood. We never really knew what went on. That was kind of not a daily occurrence, but it was not something that was unheard of. There was countless times where we were in Australia and we'd been partying. We had like 3 days off, and we'd been partying in the hotel suites in Sydney, in King's Cross, and one of the people that were in our suite, whatever, we had a bit of a party. There was people everywhere. It suddenly come up on the TV screen as missing, and we're like looking at the TV screen, looking round and going, "You need to go home." You know, that
Oh,
that was quite. That was to do with Zach as well, a little bit, uh, again, but. Man, there was so many. Just, I mean, we were never kind of like OTT. It was just, you're a young man. You're
we had a
going out.
good time.
Yeah, yeah. There was never anything that was. There was a couple of things in Texas with some girls who were just as bad as us, but a few things that went on there that I think everybody was involved with that ended up being they cleared they let off the fire alarm in the hotel, which was like 12, 15-story high hotel, and everybody got cleared out, and we were all like walking out in our pajamas or whatever, our bathrobes with girls, and looked over in the bar area, and there was Zach sat there sipping a cocktail. So it was obvious, the only person that wasn't panicking. But there was quite a lot of stuff that went on over those uh, in Dallas. There was always a gang of girls in Dallas who were amazing. They had their own name, like the GTOs or something, and they would always turn up. And when we were on tour with Pop Will Eat Itself, they just would always turn up, and it was like you know, it was
A
like,
good night.
we are here to party. You know, are you boys here to party? And we're like, yeah, of course, yeah. So it was always, yeah, fun. But it was, you know, it was never like, it was always a mutual party. We were not that bad. We were, even though like sometimes I meet people, like I met someone today, Nick, who produced the video. His company produced the video for children, and he said, "Oh my God," he said, "we went out with you guys afterwards." He said, "I remember you, Derry, because um, where we did the internal scenes for the video, it should have been rainwater, but they just put this black kind of like dustbin liners around it for children." I said, "Well, I didn't know, you know, we just turned up and blah, blah, blah." He said, "But I remember you because you were outside," he said, "and there was a guy with his assistant throwing knives at a board. They were going round on a, you know, and he was, and I said, yeah, well, I got up there." He said, "I know." He said, "We were there trying to get the video, and I was the producer." He said, "And one of the bands out there with a guy fucking throwing knives at him, you know, on a." And and Nick said, "Well, I always thought the knives popped out." I said, "Nah, they didn't, because initially I was up against it. They, you know, they tether you around your waist, ankles, and." I said, "And I saw the knives when he threw them. They went woof, 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 bang, like that." And he said, "How do you feel about like going clockwise?" I'm like, "I don't give a fuck." Yeah. So he's like, woof, woof. He's like, "I'll never forget that." He's like, "You're about to do a video," he said, "and oh, you've done some of it." And this guy in the dinner, and you're like, he said, "I remember walking outside and you're all there laughing." He said, "I'm thinking, these guys are fucking crazy." And the guys chucking, and they were big knives, you know, when you're on a. So yeah, it
What a
was,
story.
yeah, it's just, it was well, I mean, there's so many other stories. You'll have to get the book.
Is there something about Noel Gallagher with a lime as well or something?
Noel Gallagher, we knew Noel from way back when he was a roadie for the
With his
Inspiral.
spiral cap, yeah.
Yeah, so we'd bump into Noel on and off. And to be fair, jumping the gun a bit with Noel, he was one of the first people. Him and Manny from the Stone Roses were the first two people to reach out to James to give them their condolences when Zach died, which I thought was just. I
Really?
mean, Noah was a great
That's
guy anyway. Yeah,
that's classy.
yeah, class.
Yeah.
They're both class guys, absolute class guys. I mean, last time I saw Noel, I think was a Sex Pistols gig in like '96. I did see him in London in about 2012, but he was he, but yeah, I mean, Noel was always lovely. And I remember when Oasis made it, I was there at the big gig they did at the Astoria. I was there, and then we went. There was a party for Warner's, I think, and we were carrying on. I'm like, "You've made it, man! You've made it." He's like, "Derry, man, shut up." "Oh, but you've made it. You've done it." You know. And we used to walk around Manchester with Noel, like me and James, when we went up there. Um, I think we did like in the city or something. And Noah took us out afterwards, and we'd be walking around near Canal Street, and these like BMWs would pull up alongside, like black BMWs, blacked out BMWs, and be like, and I'm like, "Who's this lot?" No, you know, Manchester in those days was not the Manchester it is today. And no, I was like, "It's all right, normal." They're like, "No one from the football, no one from City." And a window would go down, and you're like, "Yeah, all right, no, yeah, no problems here." But they were basically like lads in like black tip BMWs, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, going round. If they saw a couple of guys coming
With
off,
Noel.
Well, no. If they saw with Noah, you were all right because he knew them all. You know, because Noah's a tough guy. Trust me. Liam's a great guy too, but they were basically. So he said his exact words were, "They're steaming the gays," which basically means they go along. A couple of gay guys, drunk. Gay guys have usually got nice watches, jewelry, money. They would basically rob them. They were like Moss Side, Cheetham Hill, wherever. Yeah, they were like little gangsters basically. And because we were in Noel, they're like, all right, no, you know, blah blah. And it's like, yeah, all right, you know, no problem at all. But yeah, it was, you know, that's how Manchester was then, you know, because they were on Canal Street, and Canal Street is the gay area in Manchester. So it it was a burgeoning, or you know, so these guys were like, well, fucking, you know, gays have got the money, they have a few quid, they'll have a nice watch, nice jewelry.
But you're fine if you're with Noel Gallagher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I'm like, who are these guys? No, you know, and it was like, it wasn't just one car, it was like two cars, you know, but they were just going round and round and round, and no one's like, oh, you're all right, you're with me, right? And they were like, because they knew him from the football, they were just scallies, you know what I mean? Just same happened with me with Mavers from the Laz, you know, Lee Mavers when I was
Oh
up at
yeah.
Titan, you know, exactly the same happened, you know, happened. Um, like driving along in his mini and all that, and he pulls it. He's like, "Oh, see this guy? Yeah, all right, Lee. All right, you know, blah blah. You know, how you doing? Oh, who's this? Oh, Derry EMF. All right, Derry. You know." And I'm like, "Oh, mate, how you doing? Oh, yeah, just got out. You know, did a 3 stretch again. You know, I'm back on the street now. You know, you're all right. If you want to come around for a cup of tea, you know." It was like just like fucking, you know, another world really. And I think, but no, Liam, I've always had a lot of a
Have you
time.
ever met Liam?
Sorry,
How many times have you met Liam?
Liam, I've met twice. Once we had a night out, and then the second time he was just absolutely proper. You know, I didn't expect him to remember me, but he did. He come up and tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "You all right there?" You know, blah blah. It was
Your impressions are incredible.
well, we were outside a nightclub in the West End of London, and Liam was the hottest thing going at the time. There was, I can't remember what the band was. It was like a girl band, and I think the Chili Peppers wanted to take them on tour, probably because they were a girl band. But the driver Jason, who used to his father's company used to do all the driving for all the bands on probably most of the record companies, but definitely EMI. I mean, we knew Jason used to drive us home from bloody Manchester Square, which is Oxford Street, London, to the Forest of Dean, and then drive home. Didn't care because he was only young. He was younger than us. And I saw him and I said, Jason, what are you doing here? He said, oh, I'm doing Liam, but he's got a few of his mates here. Of course, they were all, you know, carrying on. And I'm like, oh, well, he probably won't remember me and all that. But remember him to me, say Derry from EMF. I'm stood in the queue waiting to go in this like bar. I tap on the shoulder and it was Liam. And he's like, all right, Derry, you know, blah, 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 you know. And I'm like, oh, how you doing then? I'm like, you pretty much made it now, aren't you, kid? And he had like a few of his scally mates there, all like, you know, sort of throwing shapes. But people say to me, you know, have you met Liam Gallagher? Especially years ago. And I'm like, absolutely, you know, totally cool. To remember me and tap me on the shoulder, you know, and go, because me and him had a night out with a guy, a mutual friend, and Liam was going, oh yeah, see this music here. He said, I can make better music than that. My band's going to be the biggest band in the world. We're going to play Nebworth. We're going to do all that. And
And you
I'm,
did it.
yeah, and I'm not like
Yeah.
the type of person to go like, oh yeah, whatever, whatever. You know, I'm like, you go for it. And I've always had a real soft spot for him because people go, oh, what's that Liam Gallagher like? Is he a wanker? And I'm like, no, he's not. Everything he said that night when we went out, and we were pretty out of it, to be honest with you. By the end of the night, we ended up about 6 in the morning. Me and Liam sat there. Everything he said was completely true. He had it down. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, fair play. I didn't think of him as being cocky or. I just thought he was like, you know, he could be an actor if he wanted to. He could do what he wanted. He was. I didn't find him as big-headed at all. At all. I found him as, I'd met Noel before, and Noel was actually doing the first album. What's the story, Morning Glory? What was the first Oasis album?
Definitely, maybe.
Definitely, maybe. Noel was finishing that off in Maison Rouge on the Fulham Road, and I went down to Maison Rouge to pick up a, a, a painting for some reason. We'd been in there doing some mixes, and about 2 doors down from Maison Rouge was a framing shop. So I went down there to pick up this painting, and as I come out of the shop, there was Noel, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "Oh, I'm going in to have a coffee. Come and have a coffee or a beer or whatever." I said, "Well, I just picked up this bloody great painting. I got to take it on the tube." He said, "Oh, well, don't worry about it. I'll get you a taxi on the studio account." I said, "I don't have to do that. No, well, I'll take it on the tube." No, Derry, no. So anyway, they were like, Alan McGee and all that. So he did. In fact, he came back with me because we went out and we were yakking. And I had this. My brother's got it. It was an amazing Gustav Klimt print, and I had it framed. But for some reason, I must have bought it from the same place on the Fulham Road, just down from Maison Rouge, where Oasis were doing Definitely Maybe. So, and then he said, "Look, our kid Liam is hanging out with Sweaty Simon Mason. Sorry, Simon. Simon Mason is a top bloke, but we were all involved." And he said he's going out with him tomorrow night to the Primal Screen party or the night after. Can you chaperone Liam for me? He said, because I'm in here finishing Definitely Maybe, doing the mixes. And he said, Simon? And I said, well, of course I do. I said, well, I'll go out with him. Never forget, we met him at the Good Mixer in Camden. Simon was up on the roof because there was like a kind of roof terrace. What are you doing there? He said, I'm waiting for Liam. I said, well, but they weren't massive then, Oasis.
Just making their name.
Yeah, this was like 96. It was just before I saw him at the Astoria when it all went off, when it was all going big. So anyway, went in and then had the night out with Liam. Went to the Primal Screen party with Tim Abbott and all those people on the front. There's a famous, can't remember what the single was, but there's a guy going at that Champagne Supernova or whatever it is. That's Tim Abbott. That's whose party we went to. So knew all those guys, Alan McGee, and he wasn't there. Bobby was there, Bobby Gillespie. Yeah, I mean, a gang, you know what I mean? A real boozing and, proper gang. And Liam was everywhere we went that night. We went to Sean McCluskey's club. We went to the place where the Primal Screen Party. We went to about 5 or 6 bars before then because Liam wanted to go everywhere and Simon knew people. You had Liam Gallagher with you. And they were just on the cusp of going straight. Yeah, exactly. So when you went, but you know what I mean? Liam, to be fair to him, was completely different because Noel had said to me, will you chaperone, just keep an eye on things. You know what I mean? Because Noel knew me from Manchester, knew I'd been around a bit and knew. But I handled Liam. Liam was all right with me. Liam was fine. Liam was Liam, and I just thought, that's who he is. He ain't never changed. And I stick up for him to this very day if someone says anything bad against him, because I can't say anything bad against him, Liam Gallagher, because I got nothing to say bad against him. He was who he was, and everything he said, he did. Everything. He was like, but he was. He didn't say it like a bit. Like, I'll do that. You know, I've been around scallies, and I used to buy fucking clothes when I was 17 in Chatham Mill and Moss Side, and meet people in dodgy fucking service stations and buy 50 pairs of trainers. I didn't know what I was doing, but Liam was just a continuation of that, which was, he's Liam Gallagher, isn't he? So let him get on with it.
Derry, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast today. It's been a pleasure chatting. But before we go, there is one big thing that we need to talk about, which is, of course, the upcoming EMF Jesus Jones tour, which takes place this October. There is 3 dates: Manchester O2 Ritz, London O2 Forum, Kentish Town, and the Bristol Marble Factory. Of course, it's both bands' first ever co-headline tour. Echo Belly are also on the bill. How are you looking forward to it?
Well, we played with Jesus Jones once in Brazil, but we weren't on the same night, but we were in the same vicinity. And they've always been big. I mean, there would not be an EMF if there wasn't a Jesus Jones, because in the early-ish days of Jesus Jones, when they were on the Liquidizer tour, me and Zach and James went to see them, and I originally I was the bass player from EMF, so
Yeah.
had no real. Oh, there it is. It had no real sway with me to play keyboards until I saw Ian sort of having fun and with the samples. And the samples on the first EMF album, Hubert Dip, were so basic compared to what Ian was doing. I remember being in the toilet at one show, I think it was London somewhere, and I managed to be in the same set of urinals as Ian. And Ian was like my idol completely and utterly. So, I'm sure deep down he realizes that, they were like the imposters to a certain degree. And we both done our. Don't forget, when we were in America, we were number 1 and Jesus Jones were number 2. And we were smashing all the alternative charts together. That can sometimes create a rivalry, but there's never been. I mean, Jen, I know, as the drummer. Al has always been very close with us. Ian has always been very close with us. Mike is quite an enigmatic sort of his own main character, which is great. I mean, but we've always had such a cool relationship with each other, and they know that there would we we would not exist if it wasn't for Jesus Jones. They were the Liquidizer and the whole vibe that they had with the whole skateboard, and they were the real deal, completely and utterly. So to be doing shows finally with them, and I hope we take it to the States. I know they're out in the States now, or they've just got back. So you know, it'd be an honor. And I'm like saying with James that we should support Jesus Jones as is right. Maybe they'll headline London. We'll do Bristol. Is kind of our hometown gig, and then Manchester will probably toss a coin. So yeah, I mean, we're really, really looking forward to it. And both bands will be on fire. We'll, hopefully it'll be as successful as it will be. But yeah, the response that we've had, especially from America and South America and Japan and Australia, has been, we've got to, and Europe to a certain degree, you've got to bring this to Europe. But we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll be seeing you in Manchester for the gig at the Ritz. Can't wait. Never been to that venue before, and I think the
Great
sound.
venue.
So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we can catch up there.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the Ritz is such a classic venue in Manchester, and obviously being Manchester, it's going to be it's going to be really strange after 30 odd years to be finally doing not really a tour, but doing 3 dates with Jesus. But I honestly think there'll be a lot more dates. We've had Christmas dates planned with Jesus Jones before that for COVID, and dates in North America, Canada that haven't worked out. So let's just hope between then and now and then, that that we can, you know, put more dates on the table. I'm sure it'll happen. Definitely, yeah. And after we do those 3 dates, uh, it will be probably put together quickly for January and February. But I hope to be doing more stuff with them. I mean, there's talk about EMF going to America as well in June, which has not really been confirmed or yet. So hopefully Jesus Jones can tag along, because we want to be, we want to support them. We want to go out and earn our dues with Jesus Jones, because, like I said, without Jesus Jones, there would be no EMF, and that is gospel, and everybody in our boys would, or even though Ian was putting together something through us around Schubert Dip, that the direction we went in with Stigma was always a more I don't know. I'm not actually sure we had that many outside influences when we did Stigma. I think in Schubert Dip was what it was. So let's hope that we can just go out and do the whole nostalgia thing with Jesus Jones, and I'd like to tour around the world with him if possible. So we'll see.
I'm sure people can't wait, and I'll see
It's going to
you.
be a great night. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be, I mean, for us, I mean, the gigs that we've been doing recently that you came to see. You came to Cluny, didn't you?
Newcastle, yes, that was a great venue, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's small, tight, but you know, it doesn't matter to us. I mean, we played Liverpool, and it was probably the least um, tickets that we sold on that short tour we did. But when you get 200 people in a venue, 300 people in a venue in Liverpool, that they're going to be, you're in
Having a
Liverpool.
good time.
And it was all of ours, pretty much, apart from Glasgow. They were all great. They were all that we loved every venue, but the Liverpool venue was, and I don't know, it just all of us afterwards. I said, well, my favourite gig. What do you reckon? Because we talked. And I said, I love Liverpool. Even though I got there like 20 minutes before we went on stage because of the train, my own slackness, but do you know what I mean? It's you just can't really put your finger on a lot of these shows now. You've got to just take them for what they are. So, I'd like to be doing a lot more shows, especially with Jesus Jones going forward next year, this year. So yeah, it's nothing at the moment is how you used to tour when everything was like, oh, this is what you're doing and blah blah blah, and you get blasé. Now everything is quite special, very special, because the people that, what I'm saying is, the people that are turning up there are really there because they want to be there. You know what I mean? And it's great seeing young people there as well, that probably their parents, grandparents, parents have brought along a younger generation. So, I'm really looking forward to the Jesus Jones tour. especially. We've got a few things lined up before then, so yeah, it's going to be pretty good.
Well, exciting times ahead. And Derry, I'd like to thank you very, very much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting, and hopefully catch up again when your book comes out.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be out probably March next year. I got to get it done for. I'd like to get it done for Christmas if I get the time to sit down with no distractions. Probably in the south of France, which it seems to be at the moment the only time I get some headspace. But yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'd be a read, that's for sure.